Hey, freedom fighters, Travis Stenick here, and we are diving into a brand new book today, which is Napoleon Hill's Outwitting the Devil. The author of the all time best selling self help and business book in Think and Grow Rich wrote this transcript in the same year that Think and Grow Rich was released in 1937. And then somehow the manuscript got locked away, and the grandkids of this dude in the Napoleon Hill Foundation released it and published it to the world in 2011. And my, what timely message was in this book. I read this years before, so you can see that I've already marked it up a whole bunch. I'm really excited to dive in and read it again with a different lens in life and look at it for the success principles that are universal and applicable to everyone inside this book. So let's dive right in. I'm going to read the actual original handwritten notes, the typewritten manuscript, which is the introduction typed on a manual typewriter with handwritten notes from the original manuscript by Napoleon Hill. Outwitting the Devil, by the man who broke the devil's code and forced him to confess. The secret of how the author attained physical and financial freedom. The boldest and the most inspiring of self help books by America's #1 success philosopher, who, after 30 years of diligent snooping, found the devil and wrung him from an astounding confession disclosing where he lives, why he exists, and how he gains control over the minds of the people, and how anyone can outwit him. This book is a generous course in psychology, making clear the working principles of the human mind. When you finish the story of the devil, you will know much more about God. By Napoleon Hill, author of Think and Grow Rich, Master Key to Riches. All right. Note to the Readers by Sharon Lecter. Outwitting the Devil is the most profound book I've ever read. First, I was incredibly honored when Don Green, CEO of the Napoleon Hill Foundation, trusted me enough to ask me to become involved in this project. When I read the manuscript, I couldn't sleep for a week. Written on a manual typewriter in 1938 by the master himself, Napoleon Hill, this manuscript had been locked away by hidden in Hill's family for 72 years. Why? Because they were frightened by the response it would invoke. Hill's courage in revealing the devil's work around each of us every day in our churches, our schools, and our politics threatened the very core of society as it was known at the time. When asked why the family had hidden the manuscript, Don Green recites the following inside story. It was the objections of Hill's wife, Annie Lou. She was secretary to Dr. William Plumer Jacobs, president of Presbyterian College in Clinton, South Carolina. And Jacobs was also the owner of Jacobs Press and a public counselor to a group of South Carolina textile firms. Jacobs hired Hill to come to Clinton to work for him, and Annie Lou didn't want the book published because of the role of the devil. She feared the response from organized religion and maybe for Hill's job. Even though Hill died in 1970, Annie Lou didn't die until 1984. Upon Annie Lou's death, the manuscript came into possession of Dr. Charlie Johnson, then the president of the Napoleon Hill Foundation. Charlie was the nephew of Annie Lou Hill. Charlie's wife, Frankie, knew and shared Annie Lou's feelings. Frankie told Charlie that she didn't want the article published while she was alive either. So Charlie's wife passed away a couple of years ago, and Charlie finally gave me the manuscript bound in red leather and embossed with the letters Outwitting the Devil in gold on the cover. The Foundation believes the manuscript has a powerful message that needs to be shared. After speaking with Don, I was overcome with the powerful realization that this book, even though written in 1938, was actually meant to be published today. Meant to rock our society today. It was intended to provide answers during the uncertain economic and spiritual time. It provides the keys for each of us to outwit the devil in our own lives. It shows up how it shows showing us exactly how to chart a course for success and to add value to the world around us through this process. Just as Think and Grow Rich helped us recover and succeed after the Great Depression, Outwitting the Devil was written to help each of us recover and succeed today in 2025. This message is same applicable to us now as it was written then, as it was always. It's timeless. You may ask if Hill believes his conversation with the devil was real or if it was merely imaginary. The choice is yours to decide, but I also asked Don Green about Hill's thoughts on his other writings to see if we could get another look inside Hill's head. Don's response was as follows. The use of imaginary conversations it wasn't new to Hill. In 1953, Hill published How to Raise Your Own Salary, which was written as a conversation between Hill and Carnegie. Hill had actually interviewed Carnegie in 1908, and Carnegie died in 1919, well before its publication. This wasn't the first time that Hill used imaginary meetings to convey with what he was writing about. In Think and Grow Rich, Hill writes about the sixth sense that he wrote about his imaginary council meeting with 9 men whose life works had been the most impressive to Hill. These 9 imaginary council members were Emerson, Paine, Edison, Darwin, Lincoln, Burbank, Napoleon, Ford, and Carnegie. Hill wrote in Think and Grow Rich that during his meetings with the invisible counselors, he found his mind most receptive to ideas, thoughts, and knowledge that reached him during these times when his sixth sense was activated. Outwitting the Devil was by no means his first time to write about religion. In fact, after he published Law of Success in 1928, he received letters of criticism about his stance on schools and religion. In Think and Grow Rich, in the chapter titled The Six Ghosts of Fear, Hill wrote that fear of death, in the majority of cases, could be charged to religious fanaticism. Hill had much to say about religious leaders in the section of his classic bestseller. Hill also had much to say about religion even in Hill's Golden Rule magazine, which he wrote an article, A Suggestion to Ministers of the Gospel, in which he admonished church leaders to teach their followers to practice harmony among each other. So the choice is yours. Did Hill actually talk to the devil, or is this a parable created to reach and touch your heart? Hill's unique style will pull you in and move you in ways that you never thought possible. The words in this book are Hill's own. Since the original manuscript was quite lengthy, I edited it with careful precision to preserve the profound impact of his message. I've kept his original language in place even when modern grammar may have dictated adjustments. In an effort to highlight certain issues, bring clarity to his words, and show how his predictions have actually become realities, I've added my own thoughts throughout the manuscript in different type style. This allows you to choose to read the book either with my comments or without it. I think we'll add them because it'll give some more color to a contemporary mind of way of thinking, and I'll be able to add my own color as we go along as well. Please enjoy this powerful book and share it with your friends and family. The power in Hill's words can and will change your life. Here's the foreword. Dr. Napoleon Hill is arguably the most famous self help action writer, thinker, evocateur, and best selling author of all time. We ask you that you refer quickly to the actual interview with the devil. You will thus get the impact in your own life, who the devil really is, and what he does to 98% of living beings, according to the devil himself. As a thought stimulator, Hill quickly starts the book's journey, taking us through his life and what was meaningful and life changing to him. Hill learned the greatest and most useful and instantly helpful success principles on the planet, but he didn't know how to use them and easily apply them. We predict that this is true for many people still today. It's easy to say, yes, the words and sometimes even think the thoughts, but it takes a profound and lasting decision to actually live by the principles day in and day out, daily in every way. Sharon Lecter illuminates what Hill's words mean when transported into today's dollars, thinking, and understanding, according to Sharon Lecter, by the way. Dr. Hill's goal was to communicate clearly a philosophy and practice of individual achievement that would stimulate lasting happiness. Remember, in psychocybernetics, there's a whole entire chapter talking about happiness. It's an actually trained state, and it means to basically live a better life, have better outcomes. And Napoleon Hill is very focused on achieving success by ways of having more happiness in your life. Dr. Hill's goal, it was to communicate clearly a philosophy and practice of individual achievement that would stimulate lasting happiness. His inner knower guided him to find his own life's rainbow. You're being tested now in the toughest times imaginable. Just as Hill was during the Depression, he felt, acted, and became depressed and despondent, an attitude that was del- deleterious to his very beingness, just as if it was you and your wellness. Reading this inspiring book, it can help you snap out of your lethargy and negative mindedness and get you on a new, more glorious path to an even brighter, better, and more rewarding future. Like Hill, you're here to master your fears and not let them master you, to live passionately with purpose, to decide what you want to be, do, and have, and to make it so. Now, that's very important. They're already talking about the be, do, have principle rather than the futuritis have, do, be of one day I will have the results that will allow me to do the things that I want to do with those results. And then I will be that person who gets those results. That's the opposite way of successful thinkers that be, do, have, and make it so, just as these words were written. As you rediscover the marvelous and magical discoveries of Dr. Hill, you'll know and believe that you can match them and surpass them if you want to, because you're unlimited. Hill correctly says your only limitations are self imposed. This book will help you be aware that you can achieve your breakthroughs using all that he learned by interviewing the 500 greatest living achievers. You'll discover whether the devil he interviews is real or imaginary, much like the devil that you may personally be dealing with in your life and experience. Mark Victor Hansen. He's the creator of the number one New York Times best-selling series Chicken Soup for the Soul and the co-author of Cracking the Millionaire Code, The 1 Minute Millionaire, and Cash in a Flash. Now, this book was released to the public in 2011, roughly 3-4 years after the Great Recession and housing crash because banks overextended people on loans for their real estate. And it was talking about in that introduction that people were going through tough times. Well, in 2020, we all went through very tough times globally. The COVID-19 pandemic shut everyone down. Businesses were forced to fold and close. Other businesses like home remodeling and such took off and exploded. A little bit of wealth redistribution happened. People were longing for connection, and now people having to return to the office in their workplace, getting laid off. A lot of companies going lean, a lot of production supply chains were interrupted. It's taken years to get the chip manufacturers like the one I formerly worked for and such to resupply the markets with the chips they need to even just make cars, the modern day vehicle. There was a car supply shortage a couple of years ago when making the pricing of cars just go through the roof, and nothing is actually corrected yet and stabilized and readjusted, and prices gone down. The inflation values have gone up. The people's earnings are not matching or outpacing the value of the dollar that keeps going down. They keep printing more and more money, raising interest rates, trying to stimulate the economy, and all the while it's burdening, it's putting more pressure and harm on everyone's pocketbook, except for those that like cash flow producing assets like apartment units. When the price of everything goes up, they can raise the rents and they make more money. But it's never been true today than it was even 14 years ago when this book was released, that we're all going through stuff, going through some hard times. We might have a little devil on our shoulder. Before we actually get into this manuscript and read it from Napoleon Hill's lens, from the preface or foreword's lens, well, my lens already, I do believe in the devil. I believe the devil on our shoulder. I believe that we live and experience hell on earth as we make it in here. We tell ourselves these stories and we think things, we experience things, and our outer world is what we perceive as our reality. And we believe that there's hell or there will be a hell after death. I do not believe personally that there's a hell beyond death. I believe in an infinite state of love where there always was, will be, and is this loving eternal presence. I don't believe that this hell can even exist there, that nobody is cast away. Everyone is loved as always will. But it'd be like when you die, oh shit, Hitler's going like, well, I really fucked up there. Oh well, I'll do better next time if there is a next time opportunity. I don't know if I'm right. It's just a lifetime of observation thus far that's arrived me to that way of thinking, that I do believe the devil exists in our own mind. We create a devil out of nothing through our thinking alone. Now, there's energy in this stuff, and I'm not doubting the negative influence of the world or spirits or any of that stuff. I don't really know the existence of any things, but I do know there is some stuff that we can't fully explain with the measurement tools that we have available to us with our current modern day science technology. So, as it said in the foreword, it's up to you to decide. It's up to you as the reader, the listener, as I read through this book, to decide what you believe and what you think. I'm just giving you some color and flavor on my thoughts of the week, my feelings and my way of thinking that is not fixed in any way. It's evolved, it's continually growing, evolving, and changing with my life day to day. So that is the preface, that is the forward. And we're going to dive in to chapter 1 next. And looking forward to hearing what you're thinking in the comments in my school group. Join the exclusive community if you're not already, the Corporate Escape Artists. And we'll talk to you when we dive into chapter 1.